Here we go, folks. It's time for full-time reaction live on YouTube to Celtic 2, Ross County 0. I'm joined by Callum for this one. You know how the live format works. Get your questions in the live chat box below. We'll pick out the best ones. I'm sure we've got plenty to talk about today. Callum, we'll start. We did see a Celtic debut today. Not the kind of debut we were looking for, right enough. It was a debut for the new streaming service. Did it work for you? Because it seemed to be getting mixed reviews on Twitter.
I was one of probably the few lucky ones that actually did work for me. But I had got onto the stream about maybe like 20 past 12. I was there quite early. I was one of the late people. But it worked all right for me. But I did see on Twitter and Facebook and that it was it just crashed as when too many people go onto it. So I feel sorry for the people that have already paid their first season ticket money instalments and have not been able to see some of the game. But hopefully they can improve on it because it has to get better.
I think that's why they've done these games today. Test runs in it. It worked fine for me as well. I think I was on about 20-1 or something. Seemed to work fine. I Chromecasted onto the telly and that, and it was fine. What do you think of the overall standard, the production standard? I know Celtic have brought Sunset and Vine in to produce this so that it's better than the usual Celtic TV coverage. But what do you think of it?
I think it makes it feel a little bit more real when you're listening to Daryl Curry doing some of the commentary on it. Makes you feel like you're actually watching maybe a lot of BT Sport game coverage. Some of the Celtic stuff isn't great when you watch it on Celtic TV. It's not the best punditry either. So I thought it was all right with John Hartson on it. Dan O'Day, they were all right to listen to be fair. So it's just good to have games back at Celtic Park and see Celtic playing. Even though it was strange with no fans in the stadium, it was still good just to get back and get on the pitch.
I'll tell you, mate, Dan O'Day and John Hartson are a damn sight better than Stephen Craigan.
I think that's point.
To the game then, mate, obviously it's a much more realistic test for us against a Scottish Premiership side this week. We've had tough games against the French sides so far in pre-season. So this was much closer to the sort of games we're going to face starting next week against Hamilton. I thought we started the game really well, and we obviously get 2 early goals.
I think we started the game coming right out of the traps. First goal in 2 minutes. Greg Taylor whips the ball in, gets a little bit lucky. The defender just swinging his leg at it, he slices it and goes in over the goalkeeper, which was strange with the goalkeeper how Celtic had given just for this game, and then we took him back. Mate,
if there's one position we shouldn't be giving away,
loaning people out as the goalkeepers. I thought, what are we doing? One injury to Scott Bain, and we've not got anybody. So, but we started the game well, and as you say, like the first goal was a bit lucky. Good cross in for Greg Taylor. Got lucky on it, but second half kind of fizzled out a little bit. But that is more of the standard that you're going to come up against next week when we come up against Hamilton. That's roughly what you're going to come up against. Teams that are dogged, just sit in, compact. Where when we went to France, it was a lot more teams attacking us, hitting us, and we had to kind of counter that and try and get the pitch. So France was really good for us. Got minutes in our legs, probably learned a lot, and we changed the squad, rotate the squad quite a lot. And now we're starting to get close to the season, as in coming next week. And I think Ross County was a good step up to play back to that level. And then also we've got Hibs tomorrow with maybe a change-up squad. Some of the fringe players getting a chance to come up against a good Hibs squad. So that'll be good to see.
You would expect a totally different team tomorrow against Hibs, given it's the day after. Obviously, we've seen in the games in France as well, Neil Lennon basically had 2 11s. You see with guys like Ncham, Volgic, none of them are even in the squad today. So you'd expect those sorts of guys to come in tomorrow. I thought El Yunusi was good early in the game. Brilliant link up down the right hand side with Frimpong and Forrest. We won to cut back, and it was a brilliant finish by El Yunusi.
It was brilliant. I liked the right hand side with Frimpong and James Forrest. I thought the two were really good today, and that's what I was saying. And last time I was on, that's what Frimpong gives you a little bit maybe more than El Hamad, is that he gets by. Gets right to the byline and can get a good ball in, and you've seen that. He does the 1-2 with Forrest. He beats his man. I think it was actually Lee Irwin that was chasing him back, which was their striker. He was chasing Frimpong, cuts the ball back. Edwards just steps in, pulls the defender, and it leaves that space around about the penalty area. And it's a brilliant finish for Elanusi, who's probably in the best form throughout the whole squad. He's looked really sharp since coming back. He's been definitely a good player.
He's been a standout. He's been a standout for me so far in pre-season. Obviously, the games in France, we've seen the team change a lot with the 2 11s, but of the sort of full strength team, he's the one that stood out for me so far, and I think that bodes well. Again, I've said it before, if we can keep him fit this season, he'll be an absolutely massive player for us. The other big talking point in the first half was that tackle on Greg Taylor. Now, I don't know if you've seen the tackle on Kylian Mbappe the other night for Loic Perrin in the French Cup final. I've seen some of the comments underneath videos of that tackle wanting that boy in jail, and it was that tackle. That tackle wasn't as bad as the tackle today on Greg Taylor. It was a shocker, wasn't it?
It was a shocking tackle for a friendly. You've seen the reaction for the boys as well, going right in on the player. Like, there's no need to be doing that, and that's all it shows, that as soon as we get an injury to Greg Taylor, all we've got in reserve is ball and goalie. So we're very weak in left back, and this has been a continual problem throughout all last season. We thought that. I mean, we signed Greg Taylor on the last day of the window, so we need to bring in reinforcements for left back. Because even McInroy that came on, who I thought played quite well when he came on, but that's not his position. He sits just in front of the back four in a holding role. So, but I thought he'd done all right. But that shows you what we're lacking, that we're having to bring on a centre defensive mid and put him left back, and he's obviously a fringe player. So it was a shocking tackle for the boy, and hopefully Greg Taylor's not going to be out too long. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. If you're just joining us, by the way, get the questions in below. We'll try and pick out some good ones. We're going to talk about transfers, mate, because anybody that follows me on Twitter would have seen yesterday making some points about the lack of activity so far. I can't believe that some people thought it was controversial for me to say that the squad right now is weaker than it was last season. One guy said we're only weaker in the goalkeeping area. I'm pretty sure we lost a left back and a centre half. So first question in here, Undercover Brother 67, saying we know we need to strengthen key areas, but given today's injury to Taylor and with Bolly being the only natural replacement, just how urgent is our need for another competent left back now? Left back is one of the areas, like a prime example. You see, that's all it takes today. It's a bad tackle, it's a friendly, you don't expect it, but that's football. One bad tackle and somebody can be out injured. And then I think Greg Taylor will be all right. Neil Lennon says it's just a trauma and impact injury. He's hoping he'll be back for next week. But it just takes one tackle and then we're on to ball and goalie and we've got no senior cover. You touched on McInroy playing today. It's not maybe his best position, but he's also a young player. We've got lots of areas in the park where we've got young players, but they've never played first-team football, so we can't consider them backup choices because they've never been tested at first-team senior level. And left-back's a prime example of that, so we really need to get somebody else in there.
This season's such a pressure cooker season. It's just going to go, and it's going to keep going and going and going. And without having the fans as well, Celtic are really going to need to dig deep in games. You look at last season, some of the games, Hamilton Accies at home, where we struggled and Scott Brown steps up. That's really for the fans to really push. We're not going to have that for at least the next 2-3 months. So we need, when that injury happened, I seen it, I thought, even before the game, we need the left back, we need cover. We need cover in that position. I don't know who we could maybe go for in that position. There was talk last season about the boy for Rosenborg, Melling. People were talking about him, maybe over Greg Taylor. That was the choice that was going about. So I don't know if Celtic would maybe look at him.
I think he might have left Rosenborg actually.
Did he? Aye. So I've missed that one, to be fair. So it's the scouts are also going to get busy and look, because as you say, the season starts next week, and what was happened if Ball and Goalie was to get injured tomorrow against Hibs if he plays, and you've got nobody left back. So Celtic really need to try and bring somebody in.
The thing about Ball and Goalie is as well, I don't think anybody trusts him, and none more so than Neil Lennon. I don't think Neil Lennon trusts him. So I don't think Neil Lennon would want to be going into the season in a situation where Ball and Goalie was only fit left back. You touched on another thing there that I want to go into in a wee bit more detail. The fans, obviously, it's the first time we've seen the team playing back at Celtic Park in a behind closed doors atmosphere. I felt there was a real dip in the second half. We did have chances. We missed a few great chances, but I think there was a real dip in the second half. We know it's pre-season. The players maybe aren't up to speed yet. But do you think that will be an example where we see the impact of not having the fans there, where the players are maybe getting tired as you get into the second half and there's no that energy coming for the stands to kind of push them on?
There's just no that push that you would normally get if maybe a game was one each, or even today when it was 2-0. Ross County had a good wee 10-minute period where they tested Scott Bain out, and if that's a league game and it's just one, all it takes is for one of them to go in, then you're really under pressure from a game that you're completely controlling to 2-1, last 15 minutes is going to be shaky. So I definitely think that it's going to be harder this season without the fans pushing the team on. You really need to kill games early, because it gives wee teams like Ross County, your Hamilton, St Mirrens, if they're still in the game with 25 minutes to go, they're just going to throw everything at it. They're not going to lose it out it by pushing there. So you've seen that with the game today. So it is going to be difficult, where the players are really going to need to step up and really need to push through, and hopefully we can get fans back in as soon as possible.
In terms of injuries, we've seen a few people pull up today, actually. James Forrest is one, despite the fact, by the way, that people have you believe the squad's absolutely fine. James Forrest needed treatment. Christopher Ayer needed treatment. Jeremy Frimpong pulled up at one point.
Yeah.
All of those areas, right wing, centre half, were scarce in numbers.
Plus, even El Hamad was injured in France when he came off. So even there, like, if Frimpong was to get injured, Bim's not even getting a right back to step up. So we definitely need reinforcements in. Obviously, the transfer window's open till October, but it's my pet hate with Celtic when they wait and they wait. Aye, and I mean that's the problem. By the time October comes, you're already into your European games. You're already Aye, exactly. You could be You've got your League Cup to then play, and you've got your SPFL games, and the games are just going to be so. They're going to be thick and fast. They're just going to keep coming and coming and coming. And you know yourself, it's the winter break's usually a good thing, because it can give yourself just that 3 weeks to rest, recharge the batteries and go again. This year we don't have that, so it is going to be non-stop throughout the season. So we definitely need reinforcements for especially the defence. I think we need at least another centre back. We let Jozo go. So he's went. So we're short. If one of the centre backs get injured, if I was to get injured, who do you then play there? I mean, people are going to turn around and say Beaton. Beaton's not your number one centre back throughout a season.
He's a converted midfielder at the end of the day, isn't he?
Aye, definitely, aye.
Just on that subject, mate, Ian Walsh is saying Ayer, Julian, McKenna back three. Now I want to talk to you about Scott McKenna, because I'm not having him. I'm definitely not having him. I don't think he is the kind of player we should go for. I don't think he had a great season last year at all. I wouldn't have taken him at the start of last season either. But what do you think of that shout, Scott McKenna?
I think, do you know, it's one that's going to split every fan right down the middle. You're probably get 50% that say no chance. You probably get a 50% that would say I'm probably in the I camp, to be fair. I think McKenna is better than, well, as you say, if we were to lose a centre back, then we would have Beaton. McKenna's a better defender than Beaton. I think you could probably get him on the cheap. Aberdeen I think they turned down around about £5 million off like Stoke City last season for him, which is, I mean, that they should have just bit the hand. But I think you could probably get him on the cheap. With Aberdeen obviously accepting an offer from Cosgrove for £2 million. They're obviously in desperate need of some money. So I think you probably could get him for a fair price, and maybe instead of going abroad and getting somebody, I think it's somebody that knows the league. Played at every ground. He's played at Celtic Park. Sure, he was a Celtic fan as well, Celtic season ticket with his dad, McKenna. So he is a Celtic man as well, and I think he's only maybe 23, 24 years old, and he's obviously got international caps as well. So I feel that he's going on. He's still a bit rash. He's definitely got a rash game in him, where you just think, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. But you need to learn. I think it would be all right if Celtic were to get McKenna in.
As you say, mate, it'll split opinion. I'm definitely not having him. Stuart Snedden is asking, it seems to be a topic of discussion every year. We aren't proactive in the market and consistently lack depth in key areas. How many players do you think we need? There is a lot of comments here as well, though, saying that we just need to be patient. This happens every season. We always turn out all right. That's fair enough. There's no doubting that we've won 11 domestic honours in a row. 2 games away from winning 12 domestic honours in a row. But I just think supporters get increasingly frustrated every year when they see the same patterns developing. We're going to encounter European qualifiers in a couple of weeks' time. The past 2 seasons we've failed to reach the Champions League, and we've been put out the last 32 Europa League. That we leave ourselves open to that by not being proactive in the window. And I know there's difficulties, and I know this season is more difficult than any other, given the situation with the pandemic and stuff. But how many, to come back to Stuart's question there, how many do you think we need? I'll go first. I think we need a centre half. I think we need a right winger. I think we need a striker. And obviously we need a goalkeeper.
Aye, definitely. And minimum, we need, I would say, 4 players in, and we don't even need players just to make up the numbers. We need quality, because we've definitely lost a bit of quality from even last season's team with Fraser Foster. Obviously, we've not got the presence of the goalkeeper in there. So I definitely need a goalkeeper. I would say maybe need another right back, because El Hamad, he seems to be so injury prone. So you're really only going to be young Frimpong.
By the way, I've missed left back as well, so there's another one on my list.
So then you get set goalkeeper, right back, left back, a striker, a right winger. He challenged Forest season upon season. He's the only right winger that we actually have at the club. No one really seems to push him. He knows that he's going to be the first name on the team. So we need somebody that can push him out. When we had like Paddy Roberts, two of them were pushing each other and became better. So I probably need, I would say.
But by the way,
5, 6 players.
people keep asking about Shved. Shved's gone, man.
He's gone. Honestly, he's a goner.
Be serious, please. He was never here. People can talk about, all right, he didn't get a fair chance. There's obviously reasons why he didn't get a fair chance. We can't consider him in the squad. He's a goner.
Just something wasn't right. I mean, it was the Neil Lennon signing, to be fair, and sometimes that can happen. A manager can come in and just not like the type of player that you are. Obviously, it was a Brendan Rodgers signing, but even under Rodgers, he never got a sniff. I'm sure he went back out on loan when he came to us. He went back to his club that he came from, went on loan, then came back and just never got an appearance. I think he scored 1 goal, and then it was like release Shved. All this hype about him, and then he's just, as you say, he's disappeared now. He's gone.
It's a prime example of one of the situations where players get better when they don't play in it. We've never seen somebody gets a wee cameo and then everybody thinks he's absolutely brilliant. There's obviously reasons, as I say, Neil Lennon's probably seen in training, his attitude, maybe the way he's adapted, maybe he struggled to adapt to life in Scotland and stuff, but as I say, he's as good as gone. Back to today, mate, I just want to touch on Edouard a wee bit. I don't know if it's sharpness, he probably needs a goal as well, but just didn't quite look himself today.
No, that's probably one of the worst games I've seen Edouard in. And no criticising the guy, because it's just all about getting minutes into the legs. But his touch was horrendous. To be honest, it was like that was maybe his first game since he's came back for the pandemic. That's what it looked like. He looked a lot sharper in France. I don't know, maybe he's carrying a wee injury or a wee niggle. I'm not too sure, but he just looked. He didn't look his cell at all. Even some of the chances that he had. I think it was James Forrest on the right. He cuts the ball back, and you're just wanting him to smash it with his left foot. He takes too many touches, and the defender closes him down, and it takes a deflection, goes out for a corner. Where you're just expecting him to smash it. So we know what level he can get to. We know what an amazing player that he is, and I'm still surprised that he's still at the club. To be fair, because I thought he probably would have left. But I'm just glad that we've got him going into next week. So, aye.
Absolutely, man. I think it's just sharpness. I think it's just down to sharpness. We know that as soon as the real competitive stuff starts, he'll do what he does best. I just think today he was trying to do a wee bit too much at times. As you say, Ross County was surrounding him 2 and 3 bodies at a time, and instead of looking for a pass, he was trying to take them on and doing a wee bit too much. But with sharpness, that will come. Back tomorrow, a game against Hibs, as you say, you'd expect a totally different team then. And do you expect anybody from that team that will play tomorrow to get in Neil Lennon's thoughts for next Sunday against Hamilton?
No, probably not. That team we've seen today is our first 11. You've probably only got in Cham, and then ball and goalie. If Taylor doesn't make it, then he'll probably make the squad, unless Celtic decide to go a 3-5-2 against Hamilton. But then I'm not too sure, because as I says, I think Kamala's exactly. So we'll need to wait and see. But no, I don't think too many will get in. It'll be more the fringe players. I think like Karamoko will play, Sorrow will probably play, B-Tom will play. You'll have the fringe players, but I don't think anybody can really push. I think Neil Lennon's already, he knows probably his best 11. Near enough, most of his 11, and I think he definitely wants to strengthen as well. We know Neil Lennon wants to strengthen because the squad is weaker, so that's what we need to go into next week. I'm hoping that we can get at least a goalkeeper in before next week, because I don't know. I like Scott Bain. He does all right, but I just don't feel as if he's a number one goalkeeper for this going into this season. It's just such a big season, so I hope that we can get a goalkeeper across the line, whether that's Fraser Foster on the return or if it's Barkas from AEK Athens. I'm just hoping one of them can get in, get the deal done, and just get the heads down and kick on with the season.
I think goalkeeper's an absolute emergency, mate. Definitely. Hopefully we can get one in this week. That's all we've got time for today. Like the video, comment with your own thoughts below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Hibs game. Cheers.